wa barakatuh. How you guys doing? All right, so quickly, I've got 3 sources for you that it's an exposition of the evidences that relate to the debate that with Apus, where he obliterated himself, where he humiliated himself.
Mohammed Hijab, drink some water firstly, and then Mohammed Hijab in this debate admitted there are many Qurans. He practically admitted there are many Qurans, but he thinks he won the debate. Okay, please go on.
Where he decimated himself, annihilated himself, finished himself, because he's a man with multi-layered self-delusion. He's a man with delusions of grandeur.
Yeah, we will see about that in few minutes. In few seconds, actually. We will see who has the delusions.
He's a man who's unaccomplished in every sphere of life. But moving on now. Humiliation is done. Self-humiliation has been complete.
Mohammed Hijab is the guy who thought Hakikatsu, another Islamist, won the debate with the Apostate prophet with this kind of arguments.
Do you believe that slavery is an ideal system? Do you believe that that there should be slaves in a society? Do you think slavery is okay?
Yeah, I mean, slavery is something that I do not find to be immoral. Is there really a fundamental difference between wage labor and slave labor? Is there a difference between owning someone versus renting someone? Renting someone is worse, because think about the difference between owning a car and renting a car. When you rent a car, you drive it, in a very abusive kind of way, as opposed to owning it where that's your investment, you care about it. Anyway, so that's something that's uncomfortable for people who are raised in the West. The legal concepts underlying slavery exist within the employer-employee contract of wage labor. In many cultures, there's not really a difference between saying that person A, like Ridvan, owns George. Okay, that's a slave relationship. Ridvan owns George. There's not really a difference between that and saying that George has a contractual obligation to Ridvan.
Yeah, and so what he does quite effectively is he synthesizes his secular knowledge and with classical Islamic knowledge that he's also acquired through training, and to make robust arguments against people who are against Islam and Muslims. And the first thing we need to probably talk about, because it's quite hot now in terms of social media, is your debate with this the Apostate Rizwan, which went quite viral and was quite a destruction, even by the admission of some of his fans. And this debate really was a mismatch of tremendous proportions.
Mismatch, eh? He destroyed him. He destroyed him with arguments that say that slavery is better than employment. He destroyed him, really, Mohammed Hijab. The same way you destroyed him, with the arguments we will see in a couple of seconds. I admire your confidence, Mohammed Hijab. Your delusion is in such levels. It's okay. What can I say, my friend? You are officially insane.
Moving on. The second thing we talked about is in chapter 25, verse number 61. I made the claim that there's 2 ways of reading this. Sirajan, which means sun, that Allah created all of these things, the constellations and so on. And then he said the sun and the moon. So there's one qira'ah, as we know, there's multiple ways of reciting the Quran, and all of them are harmonious and complementary, not contradictory.
You say there are many ways to recite the Quran. They are not contradictory. They are complementary. But you say that in the one recitation there is one sun, in the other recitation there are many suns. This is what you say. And then you say those recitations are complementary. How is that possible, my friend? In an opposite universe, that might happen. In the real world, that doesn't happen. 2 contradictory statements cannot be complementary
and unharmonious. So The second way, which is Qira'at Hamza and Kisa'i, as you can see here underneath in the description box in the second tweet, is Surujan. Surujan is the plural of the word Sirajan, and Siraj means sun, so the plural of that is many suns, which is in line with the general 21st century cosmological picture. Now, I'm not saying that that's the only interpretation. Maybe you can interpret it as stars, no problem. The idea is, it's definitely linguistically facilitated that you can say that these are many suns. Why? Because it's the plural of the word Siraj. It's the plural of the word Siraj.
My friend, first of all, let's count backwards from 10 to contemplate, okay? 10, 9, 8, 7. Okay, you say that there are many recitations. In the one recitation, it says one sun. In the other recitation, it says many suns. That is what you say. But then you say those recitations are complementary. How is that possible?
The Quran itself has falsification challenges. It actually says if you believe that this book is from other than God, then please try and find it. Oh, you would have found in it many contradictions. لَوَجِدُ فِي اخْتِلَافًا كَثِيرًا.
So, you say, remember guys, it's not me saying that, Mohammed Hijab says that. Okay, you say that there are many valid recitations. In the one recitation, in the one valid recitation, it says there is one sun. In the other valid recitation, there are many suns. Is that a contradiction, Mohammed Hijab? I don't know. Is that a contradiction? Yes or no?
What I'm saying to you is, if number one, you said that you found contradictions in it. So my challenge to you now is to try and find a contradiction.
Do you think the stars are missiles thrown at devils, for example?
Well, chapter 67, verses 1 to 5. You know, where it says, وَلَقَدْ زَيَّنَّا السَّمَاءِ الدُّنْيَا بِمَصَابِيحَ وَجَعَلْنَاهَا رُجُومًا لِلشَّيَاطِينَ. First of all, it says, you know, if this is your strongest argument, let me answer it.
No, it's not.
Well,
I will not make my strongest argument.
argument.
I'm throwing rocks at you. I want you to answer this.
Okay,
We're not abiding by rules.
problem. وَجَعَلْنَاهَا رُجُومًا لِلشَّيَاطِينَ وَلَقَدْ زَيَّنَّا السَّمَاءِ الدُّنْيَا. So the Quran says in chapter 60, I think verse 3 or 4, 67, sorry.
67.5, I believe.
Yeah, 67.5. وَلَقَدْ زَيَّنَّا السَّمَاءِ الدُّنْيا بِمَصَابِيحَ. We have certainly adorned the heavenly realm with stars. وَجَعَلْنَاهَا رُجُومًا لِلشَّيَاطِينَ. And we have made it a pelting thing for the devils. Now, what is, first of all, masabih? So there's a difference of opinion. Some they say it's meteorite, some they say stars. And says, رُجُومًا لِلشَّيَاطِينَ. And we have made it as a pelting things for the devils. So it's saying that devils, because if you look at chapter 37 of the Quran and other parts in the very first 5 verses, you'll find that the Sama' dunya, or the heavenly realm, is adorned with stars, has many functionalities of them to try and find your way, as the Quran says, of them so it can go around in orbits, as the Quran says. And by the way, the Quran says in chapter 25 that there are many suns, because it says, تَبَارَكَ الَّذِي جَعَلَ فِي السَّمَاءِ بُرُوجًا.
Okay, and we went to the verse, and it says this. This is all the translations, okay? Hallowed is he who has set up in the skies great constellations and has placed among them a radiant lamp, referring to the sun, and a light-giving moon. Second translation, Pikfal. Blessed be he who hath placed in the heaven mansions of the stars, and hath placed therein a great lamp, and a moon giving light. Yusuf Ali. Blessed is he who hath made constellations in the skies, and placed therein a lamp, and a moon, giving light. Sakir. Blessed is he who made the constellations in the heavens, and made therein a lamp, and a shining moon. Wasiduddin. Excelled is he who put constellation in the heavens, a radiant lamp, and an illuminated moon. Dr. Lachev Bakhtiar. Blessed be he who made constellations in the heavens, and made in it a light-giving lamp, and an illuminating moon. So, Mohammed Hijab, all the translations of the verse you mention say that there is one son. But you claim this verse says that there are many sons. How is that possible? Please explain.
And by the way, the Quran says in chapter 25 that there are many sons, because it says, تَبَارَكَ الَّذِي جَعَلَ فِي السَّمَاءِ بُرُوجًا.
No, it does not.
Pardon?
What does it say that?
Yeah, it says in chapter 25, تَبَارَكَ الَّذِي جَعَلَ فِي السَّمَاءِ بُرُوجًا وَجَعَلَ فِيهَا سُرُجًا munira. There's two qira'ahs. One qira'ah says sirajan munira and surujan munira. So,
what chapter, what verse?
So you say there are two kirates. There are two recitations. You say there are two recitations. The one says plural, the other one says singular. So in the Quran it says singular, but you found some recitation from the multiple Qurans that says plural. In other words, you say that there are valid recitations of Qurans. The one says singular, the other one says plural. But there is one Quran. Is that what's going on right now?
Because I don't know the verse number. Sorry, I don't know the verse numbers. I haven't memorized the verse numbers. I've memorized the Arabic. So, تبارك الذي جعل في السماء بروجا وجعل فيها. There's two qira'ahs. One of them is Sirajan Munira, and there's another one Surujun Munira. The Sirajan Munira means a shining lamp, and Surujun Munira means many stars.
So there are two recitations of the Quran. That is what he's saying right now, okay? So let me get that straight. That is what you are saying right now. There is one Quran, but there are two recitations. The one recitation says singular, the other recitation says plural. But there is one Quran. Look, this guy. What
you have not given me any proof. It is a very big claim to claim that that the Quran actually describes many suns or many stars.
You just said it in chapter 25. You just said it. Why don't you check?
Yeah,
you did not give me any proof.
I'll get it now. Oh, sorry, let me just get a few now. But you remember, in the English, they won't. There's two qira'ahs, yeah.
There is two qira'ats. That means there is two recitations.
تبارك الذي جعل. One second. Okay, good. This is verse.
You just said it. I don't know. You got to look for it, but
Verse 61, chapter 25, verse 61. So there's two qira'ahs. There's one qira'ah was glory be to the one who has made in the sky stars, yeah, and has made in it many suns. One yani sun. You know a sun?
So there are two recitations. Both are valid. But in one recitation it says that there is one sun. In the other recitation says that there are many suns. Is that what you're saying, Mohammed Hijab? But they are both valid. Okay, remember guys, this is what he is saying right now. The same guy makes lectures supporting the preservation of the Quran. The holes in the Quran preservation narrative exposed. You expose that. Proof the Quran is preserved. Mohammed Hijab and Sheikh Ahmed Kamel. Preservation of the Quran, Ustaz Abdul Rahman Hassan, MH Podcast. Has the Quran been changed, Brother Mohammed? No, Mohammed, the Quran hasn't been changed. There are just two recitations. The one is totally contradictory with the other. Okay, now I'm talking to the Muslim community. Please, the non-Muslims, close your eyes. Okay. Okay, I'm talking to the Muslim community. Let's say you are a Muslim and you trust this guy, that he knows what he's talking about. And you see a video 5 years ago.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's Brother Mohammed with you from Sirat Institute. Now, I wanted to quickly go through the news that came on, I mean, go through the commentate on the news that came on about the Birmingham parchments, the Quranic pages, the ancient pages that were found in Birmingham University, were on the shelves of the library for many years and went unnoticed. Now, firstly, I just want to say these are interesting parchments and very interesting historical pieces. And certainly, I mean, this is going to change the way many Western academics think about the Quran in particular and the historicity, basically meaning the validity, the historical validity, validity of the Quran and Islam and that kind of stuff. And so it's good in many ways and it's very interesting in many other ways. However, I'll be frank with you and honest, I don't think that this will alter or change the way a Muslim should think about the Quran. Because the Quran, we believe, is a preserved document, or it's a preserved speech. And frankly, you know, the Quran has been preserved, we believe, since the time of the Prophet till now, word for word, letter for letter, haraka or vowel sign for vowel sign.
Wow, a 24-year-old kid, I haven't seen an ancient document in his life, will educate us about the preservation of the Quran. Not even a dot, Not even a dot was changed, has been changed.
Well, and by the time 2015 rolled around, 2016, she had 26 of these different Qurans, 26 of these different Qurans. And she was giving them to all her Arab friends, as many as she could. And they were looking and they were finding all these differences. And they were finding not a few differences, they were finding hundreds, not hundreds, thousands of differences. So we suggested, we talked about it, and I said, why don't we take these down to Speaker's Corner? Let's just hold them up. Let's just go and see what would happen if we took these Qurans down to Speaker's Corner and held them up for people to see. So this is in 2016. Look what happened. And take a look and see who's there. I want you to look carefully to see if you see somebody you're going to recognize. Go ahead.
All right, here we go. Speaker's Corner 2016, ladies and gentlemen.
There is only one Quran, right? And that every Quran in the world is the same. That's what you've been told. You have been told a lie. You run away from truth. Okay, so there are two Qurans today, right? Two.
More than two Qurans.
More than two? Three Qurans?
More than three Qurans.
More than three? Four Qurans?
There are approximately 26 of the Qurans.
26 different Qurans. Oh, go ahead, start throwing things out. It says they were wanted. Two different readings.
It's the same thing in Arabic. Read in Arabic.
It's different. Look at it and which has the Dhamma. The difference is between Dhamma and Dhamma. Read it. Read it again.
حتى يقول حتى يقول
Read it again. The prophets fought, but by the time you get to the fight, they were killed. That is a huge
attention. Don't give
your faces, Muslim people, your face from here. Come.
So, I'm addressing now the Muslim community. You trust this guy to tell you the truth. Imagine what else this guy has told you that it's bullshit. Spoilers alert, everything. Muslim community, everything this guy has told you so far is bullshit. Everything.
I would have played my own compilation, but unfortunately, Sheikh Yasser Qadhi had it removed. He might have this video removed through copyright takedown for just posting these clips. I don't know. He seems to be on a rampage to remove content. But this is actually the first video that sort of brought this to everyone's attention from Islam Critiqued, from the Islam Critiqued YouTube channel. And he posted a short compilation of these clips. We'll watch probably half of it, then stop it for to discuss it a little bit, and then we'll watch the rest. So, all right, here we go. Let's see Mohammed Hijab interviewing Sheikh Yasser Qadhi.
every single student of knowledge knows, who studies Ulum al-Quran, that the most difficult topics are ahruf and qira'at. And the concept of ahruf and the reality of ahruf and the relationship of the Uthmanic Mus'haf with the ahruf and the preservation of the ahruf. Is it 1? Is it 3? Is it 7? And the relationship of the qira'at to the ahruf. This is a topic that when you're the beginning student of knowledge, you're like, what is all of this going on here? When you go a little bit more, you learn to simply memorize what your teachers say and regurgitate it out. And you don't fully comprehend. When you do a deep dive is when things get very, very awkward and difficult. And this isn't new. This is from the time of the Sahaba. This is not a joke, brothers and sisters. The issue of ahruf and qira'at caused confusion to somebody whom the Prophet ﷺ said, if you want to listen to the Quran directly, listen to Ubay. Ubay is not some even average Sahabi. He is the Qari of the Quran. He is the master. He is who he is.
Wait, wasn't that Mohammed Hijab, the master? But wait just a moment, Mohammed Hijab said this.
Because the Quran, we believe, is a preserved document, or it's a preserved speech. And frankly, you know, the Quran has been preserved, we believe, since the time of the Prophet till now, word for word, letter for letter, haraka or vowel sign for vowel sign.
And he goes, فَدَخَلْ فِي نَفْسِي شَكْ. Like, what is all of this stuff? Again, this is you were asking some very honest questions. It's the first time I'm saying these things. Many people are aware who listen to my lectures that I've mentioned the crises that happened to me at Yale. This was the issue. That the issue of ahruf and preservation and qira'at and relationships between them, these are very, very difficult issues. And the most advanced of our scholars, they're not quite fully certain how to solve all of the unanswered questions in there. Here's the point. These issues should only be discussed amongst people who know what the qira'at are and who understand some of these questions that are being raised.
So is what you're saying the shak that came, or not the shak, but the crisis that you...
Here's my understanding of the Quran, the cosmology. You can interpret...
This is an outrageous claim. Every tafsir that I'm looking at, and including the modern and old translations, tell us that there are many constellations or stars in the sky, and that there is also a lamp.
Tabari says here, look,
a lamp and an illuminating moon, which refers to the sun and the moon. This is
but
this is a ridiculous claim.
It says it here. Look, I can read it to you if you want. It says, this is Tabari's tafsir, بروجا وجعل فيها سراجا. اختلف القراء في قراءة ذلك فقراءة عامة قراء المدينة والبصرة وجعل فيها سراجا. So there's one way of saying it, which is سراجا على.
So there is one way that says there is one sun, but there is another way. Please go on.
التوحيد. So that means one sun. That's what Tabari is saying. And the other ones say سروجا. وقمرا منيرا, which means many suns. That's what Tabari says.
So there are Qurans. In other words, let's try to understand what you are saying. There are Qurans that say, in this world as we speak, that say there is one sun. There are other Qurans in this world as we speak that say there are many suns. But there is just one Quran. That's what's going on right now.
Was in relation to this question of the relationship between the ahruf and the qira'at, basically.
No. The crisis I had wasn't that. The crisis I had was, that was what generated. But what was the crisis? The crisis was very simple. Traditional understandings of ahruf and qira'at cannot answer some of these pressing questions that are now being poked by our people outside of, by our academics, by their academics outside of the faith tradition. You see, in a Muslim environment, there's always some respect that we have for the Quran. We should. In a Muslim environment, we'll press a little bit and then we'll say, okay, khalas, sami'na wa ata'na. And that's great, alhamdulillah. When you go to academia, they don't have that red line. And they're going to just, the famous story of the emperor with no clothes. They're going to just point out, no, that...
By coincidence, I used to call you the emperor with no clothes. Mohammed Hijab. Let's see my old videos, how I used to call you. What it says here, Mohammed Hijab, the naked king. I was wrong once again, Mohammed Hijab.
Doesn't make any sense. Well, that's not true, and this and that. And they'll bring issues, which I'm not going to mention explicitly, that are true because they're in your own books. They're not inventing anything new. They'll bring you riwayat and they'll bring you athar, and then you add to that very well-known issues of, I don't even want to be explicit. And then you bring on top of that makhtutat, and then. And it's very clear to you and to every single very advanced student and specialist that the standard narrative has holes in it. That's what I'm going to say. The standard narrative does not answer some very pressing questions.
Many sons, one son and many sons. So in other words, the Quran says that there are many sons. The cosmic picture of the Quran, therefore, is that there are many suns, many solar systems, because suns, but you can't access somebody because it's in Arabic, so it's not in English. The point I'm making is that the cosmological picture in the Quran is one which can be in line with 7th century Arabian unscientific, if you're going to call it the unscientific understanding, but it can actually also be, and this is one of the arguments, another argument, it can actually also be in line with 21st century understandings of science.
Mr. Philosopher, what you just said is that the Quran is nonsense. That is what you just said. Let me rephrase what you just said. The Quran is nonsense. That is what you just said, my friend. You said that the Quran can be in line with 7th century unscientific perspectives, at the same time in line with modern cosmology. In other words, it's ambiguous, the Quran. It can be in line with black, it can be in line with white. So why you read the Quran then? Why you read it then? It's nonsense, in other words. It's ambiguous. It's uncertain.
Is one which can be in line with 7th century Arabian unscientific, if you're going to call it the unscientific understanding, but it can actually also be, and this is one of the arguments, another argument, it can actually also be in line with 21st century understandings of science.
So the Quran is unisex. Can be in line with black and can be in line with white. Yet, the Quran says that it's a detailed exposition of all things, and it's clear in many verses. Let's read some verses. Chapter 41, verse 3. A book whose verses have been detailed, an Arabic Quran for a people who know. We have sent down to you the book as a clarification of all things. Say, then it is other than Allah I should seek as judge, while it is He who has revealed to you the book explained in detail. And there are many other verses. The Quran over and over again says that it's clear and a detailed exposition of all things. Yet, Mohammed Hijab, you say that it's completely ambiguous. It can agree with 7th century unscientific perspective, with modern cosmology. There is one sun, there are many suns. Nobody knows. The punishment for apostasy is death, or maybe not. It might be exile. So now that we saw how certain, clear, confident, and non-ambiguous is the Quran, let's see the level of claim the Quran makes. Total submission of all aspects of life to a seemingly immoral cult. Total submission of all aspects of life to a more or less Nazi dictatorship. And how certain is the Quran to claim this kind of authority? Hey, it might be white, it might be black. It's... What the hell?
Well, Apus, listen. I'm telling you right in front of you.
Fuck up. Don't call me Apus, okay?
I can call you whatever I like.
Apus, it was good having you. Thank you for...
I think at this point,
for nothing.
You're not up to Mohammed Hijab's level.
You got nothing.
You did not prove nothing. You're finished.
No, but the atheist.
And you're finished.
You're a liability.
And you're finished.
You're low knowledge.
And you're finished.
And you're finished.
And you're finished.
And you have IQ radiki. You know what's radiki? Is this vegetable. You finished. Once upon a time, there was a king that was so excessively fond of new clothes that he spends all his money in dress. He didn't trouble himself in the least about his rulings and neglected his people. One day, two strangers arrived at his court claiming that they can sew him the most beautiful dress of the world. The king, charmed by the idea, gave the strangers everything they wished for. So the two pretended weavers started making the clothes, but in reality they did nothing at all. The king sends one of his most trusted advisors to see why the preparations of the dress take so long. When the king's trusted advisor asked why he cannot see any dress, the weavers responded, "We used a magic fabric that only people who are truly pious can see. The dress is truly majestic, I will inform the king." Eventually, the supposed weavers brought the completed dress to the king and said the same story. "My king, here is the most beautiful dress in the world." The king responded, "Yes, that dress is the most wonderful dress I have ever seen. In fact, that dress is so beautiful that I will wear it tonight in our capital's most important celebration." Hooray! Hooray! This was Socrates' son. Thank you.